stand part of the schedules.
Mr Chairman.
I call the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Chairman, thanks very much for the opportunity to take a call in the estimates for Canterbury earthquake recovery. Nowhere, in my view, in New Zealand is it more needed for people to have a bit of support, a bit of a vision, something positive to look forward to than in Canterbury. We've been through a lot, and where that vision, that support and that hope for the future could be provided, there's a big empty space. People are looking for local jobs for local people. They want to have training opportunities for young people in our city so that they can go on with a passion and stay in our communities. We want homes that are affordable. I've watched the Minister for Canterbury Earthquake Recovery wash his hands of any concern at all about the situation that people are finding themselves in. And I've said to the Minister, I don't care what you call it. He argues about whether it's a crisis or not. I don't care about the description. The fact is that people in our communities cannot find an affordable home to rent. And from my perspective, that is a crisis, and the government has done nothing. I see that the Honourable Dr Nick Smith is about to make a major housing announcement over the coming week in Canterbury. I look forward to something positive. Do you think anyone will be a little bit suspicious that after 3.5 years since the February quake, after constant denials from the Minister for Canterbury Earthquake Recovery, suddenly, what a coincidence, about 80 days from an election, we have the Minister of Housing who gives a toss about our housing situation? I think that will be greeted with the cynicism that it deserves.
That's right.
The National Party has walked away from the hardest parts of the Canterbury earthquake recovery, and that's what I previously found so frustrating. But that frustration has been trumped now, because what we learnt during the estimates is that Minister Brownlee and Minister English have used the Canterbury earthquake recovery as a way of fiddling the books and putting on the table a budget surplus. It's not a true surplus. We won't know the true figures involved in the central government contribution to the earthquake recovery until when? The end of the year. Deliberate decision by the Honourable Jerry Brownlee that there would be no auditing of the costs until after the election. This is a cheap and nasty way of producing a budget surplus on the back of tragedy. And I resent that on behalf of my constituents. The Minister debated this, not very strongly admittedly, at the Select Committee with my colleague David Parker, my other colleague Clayton Cosgrove and I during the estimates consideration. But we produced a document that's a minute of a meeting between Tony Marriott and Bob Parker, former Chief Executive, former Mayor and the current Minister, and it said this: following discussions with the Minister, it was felt that due to the possible negative impact on the cost of borrowing for the government following an audit opinion that highlighted the uncertainty of the government's share of the response and recovery cost, a long-term plan process should not be undertaken by the Council. The Honourable Jerry Brownlee said to the Christchurch City Council, do not get your books audited before the end of 2014, and Bob Parker and Tony Marriott went along with that direction from Minister Brownlee. No wonder Minister Brownlee got so upset when the current council commissioned the Korda-Mentha report, which gave robust figures about the council's need and the ratepayers' need for contribution towards our recovery. We know it's not all good news in Canterbury. We don't expect it to be. But we deserve the truth. We don't deserve ministers pouncing around our city, going to the opening of an envelope, misleading us about the costs that our contribution will require, let alone using shonky figures to put on the table a budget surplus which is made up. Mr Chairman, I think people all over the country should resent that happening. The estimates on the Canterbury earthquake recovery show a shallow minister, a shallow department with huge expenses, nearly $100 million to run Sarah to produce wellbeing surveys and on the back of the recovery costs, denied a robust audit having shonky budget figures. I don't think that's good enough, Mr Chairman.
I call the honourable member Nikki Wagner.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. I am very pleased to be speaking on this Appropriations 2014-15 Estimates Bill. And I want to